Hi there, I'm Michelle Dubry, keeping you company until 7 o'clock tonight. Sean Bailey and Paul Embry remain alongside me. Dave says, with Paul's dark attitude about our country, it's no wonder that we are going downhill. Tony says, can you tell Paul that being wealthy doesn't make you a bad person and it is not a crime? He says, however, being jealous is one of the most unattractive traits of human behaviour. There you go, Tony. I told him. I can tell you now that there'll be lots of other people that actually completely agree with Paul and think that actually the wealthy should be paying even more. Feel free to get in touch and let me know all of your thoughts. But I want to talk to you about drink driving. Did you know that the limit is one of the highest in this country across the rest of Europe? Now, the BMA have called for our drink drive limit to be reduced to the equivalent of a small glass of wine or beer. I've got to confess, I do get confused about what the drink drive limit is. So if I'm going to have a wine, are you allowed to, is it a medium one? Can you have a large one? So then I think it's always better to kind of be on the safe side, really, and just probably not have anything. I think there's a lot of confusion about the limits. Is it better to just scrap it and just say you can't drink anything at all?
Look, I have to confess, I don't drink, so I haven't got a dog in this fight. But I'd have to say, if there's a level of confusion, of course, is a limit the same for you and another woman or another man? It's not the same because your body reacts differently. It's probably just safer to scrap it. Most people I know, if they're going to drink, they simply will not drive. So for them, it's not even a choice. They think, I'm going to have a drink, I'll leave the car at home, or I'll get my partner to drive. So it's not a big deal. I probably haven't thought about this. If our level of road accidents is high, then they should just scrap it altogether. No drinking and driving together. It'd be simpler to administer.
So the limit at the moment is 80 mg of alcohol per 100 mils of blood. And they want it reduced to 50 mg of alcohol per 100 mils of blood. But, I mean, this is why I think it's quite confusing, because it's kind of, you've got wines that are different strengths, you've got beers that are different strengths, and like was just saying then, everything affects people differently. And then I always think as well, if you've not eaten and then you have a bit of wine on an empty stomach, that seems to go a little bit differently. So what do you reckon? Get rid of it all, scrap it?
I think the best thing is just not to drink if you know you're going to be driving. That seems to be the most sensible thing.
But what should we do with the law? Because the BMA, they're going to lobby.
I would support the reduction. I think it's a no-brainer. We haven't reduced the limit, I think I'm correct in saying, since 1967, and actually most, if not all, European countries have a lower limit than us. And I was checking the figures. I think last year or perhaps the year before, there were 220 deaths on the road caused by drink drivers. Now, that suggests to me that it's still an issue. And I think, I mean, I'm a firefighter. I've been, in my career, I've been to road traffic collisions where people have been injured as a result of drink drivers. I've seen the effect that can have. And when you see it, you understand the importance of it, because it does impair people's reflexes, people's concentration. And I really don't think there's any excuse in this day and age for people having a drink, even getting what they think might be near to the limit.
Can I ask a question? You see, as a firefighter, have you been to any road accidents that have officially been designated by the use of drugs, so marijuana, cocaine, whatever? Is that a thing? Does that happen? Yeah,
absolutely. Because if people have got particular drugs in their system and they're tested afterwards, then people can be convicted for driving under the influence of drugs as much as they can be convicted of driving under the influence of drink. So yeah, I mean, it seems to me, as I say, it seems to me a no-brainer that with that number of deaths per year.
Well, yeah, 200 a year die in drink driving.
On families.
Yeah, and 1,600 people seriously injured a year, apparently, related to drink driving. But people at home, Paul, they're really divided, because Steve says, here we go, yet another attack on motorists, banging on now about reducing the alcohol limit. That's what he's saying. He was saying it's just perhaps if you're just on or just below the legal limit, he thinks it's fine. But David says absolutely the drink drive limit should be completely zero. John says he's in Scotland and apparently they've changed it there and they've seen no difference since they've dropped it. That's what he says. He's also said that actually the problem is that the police don't seem to respond quickly enough when anyone does report drink driving. Someone who works with me today told me a story about she went to a wedding wedding recently, and when they were letting the guests leave, they were breathalyzing the guests. I mean, what do you think to that? Is that a little
for
bit...
their own good, though, isn't it? I think the strongest...
Is that a little bit of an
He was doing that.
No, it's family,
He was doing that
it's
liquor.
No, the hotel staff. I mean, I've got to say, I wasn't at this wedding. It's a story that she told
It's
me.
family.
today.
You could look. The strongest argument, actually, Michelle, is yours. It's hard to decide if you're over or near or round the limit.
Yeah, don't take the chance.
So don't take the chance. That's probably the strongest reason to do it.